All right, we are live. Cool beans. All right, guys, just give it a couple minutes for people to hop on. I'm actually sending a message to the person that requested this live. Set up my Instagram here. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Coach Jerry here with Biohacking Truth. And as you know, my interests are multifaceted, and I talk about a lot of different things, but all of it circles back to health. And I am someone who likes to help people correct things in their physical body, where it's pain, disc bulges, kinetic chain disintegration. I like helping people be resilient in the mental, emotional body, find a spiritual relationship with their creator and the universe that they live in. So all that is part of my coaching package. And quite often what manifests a lot of times is pain in the body. And quite honestly, you can't effectively address it if you don't address everything. So that's why I do what I do. And that's why I talk about so many different things. So if you guys tune into my lives, you're going to hear about all sorts of different stuff. So today we're going to talk about the physical body. We're going to talk about physiological load. We're going to talk about pain in the body. And in particular, specifically, pain in the upper back region. So we experience that a lot. See that a lot with my clients, where we have postural anomalies, and also there's central sensitization issues. There could be food intolerance issues. There could be respiratory function issues. There could be organ health issues. There could be disc bulges. There could be all sorts of things. But today, specifically, what I'm going to address is pain in the upper back region, particularly between the shoulder blades and up. And if this is something familiar to you, tune in, because a lot of times if we just look for advice and guidance on the internet, which is where you're at right now, but you're lucky you found me. No, just kidding. It's going to be like a cookie cutter type approach, and that's dangerous because there's a lot of stuff involved in that area of the body. So if we just think about what's going on here, like that's our brachial plexus, right? Our nerve innervations that come out from our cervical region, right? That's innervating everything down the shoulders, down the arms, down the hands, inner triceps, right? It'll weave through underneath the pectoral muscles, down the body. The arm, like I said, it's very similar to what happens in the lower limb, where we have, our nerve outlets that feed our lower limb, our legs and our feet, and our ability to balance, stabilize, propriocept to the brain. So what happens in the shoulder complex is very similar to what happens in the femoral nerve root area down in the lower limb. So there's a whole lot going on up in here. And when we add things that we weren't created or evolved to do, like sit at a desk all day, be on a phone, communicate, basically all of our jobs or all of our work is done through the phone or through laptops or through computers. And so, while that's not the end of the world, like, we've got the most complex and brilliant organic organism ever discovered in the solar system. So we can reverse these effects. But in order to do that, we have to know what we're doing. We have to know what we're addressing. So what I'm going to share with you today is just some key considerations when you do have pain in that region of the body. So if you tuned into my live that I did on hamstring tightness, this is a very similar concept. So first thing we got to look at is what is your postural default setting, right? So what is your position of strength in static posture? Static posture is how you're standing or sitting without moving. And most people have, either a neutral spine, a good posture, or they have some sort of like cross syndrome, right? So like upper cross syndrome would be increased thoracic curve. This one right here, the rounded back, like this. Ooh, caused a cramp in my abdominals. A pretty tough workout today for a 44-year-old. So what that's going to manifest in the neck and shoulder region is this rounded upper back, and this chin poke, and this excess curve in our neck like this. The other thing I see a lot of is the opposite of that, where people are posturally aware, but maybe overly so. So this is the military position, right? Like that. So that's what we call military neck, where we got a straight back, a straight spine, or I'm sorry, a straight back, a straight neck. Typically, we have a flat lower back there. And that person's going to obviously experience pain in the neck, just like the other person. So both conditions are going to create a sensation of tightness up in that region in between the shoulder blades, subscapular region. The difference is one of them is going to experience tightness back there due to muscles being short and tight, right? So if this person that's got the military neck, it's got their shoulder blades back all the time, like so, like that, as opposed to this, right? That's the difference between the two. They're going to, both are going to create this feeling of tightness in the trapezius, and feeling of tightness in between the shoulder blades. But one of them is going to be a short, probably strong muscle in the back. That's the straight neck. While the other one is going to be a lengthened top muscle. They're both going to feel tight. Now, the person that's got the military neck is going to want to stretch that area of the body out, right? So generally that person's got weaker anterior muscles, weaker chest muscles, weaker anterior deltoids compared to what's going on in the back of the body. So that person that's military neck rigid, like so, they're going to create that. So if you're that type, that's very posturally aware, maybe you sit at your computer like this, right? If you're sitting at your computer like this, you're going to have the opposite effect. So if you're that person that's like this, what you're going to want to work on is you're going to want to work on stretching that area of the body out, being able to get my elbows to join. That's a really good quick test. Like if I stop there, probably need to stretch that area of the body, strengthen this area of the body. Now, if I can easily do this type of stuff, like super easy, then I know that but it still feels tight back there, then I probably got a taut muscle group. And as a reminder from my live on the hamstring tightness, what a taut muscle is a muscle that has been lengthened and weakened to the point to where it feels like it's going to lose stability. So it creates tightness in that muscle region. So it feels like a short, tight muscle, but it's not. It's a long, tight, weak muscle. So the correctives for those are going to be completely opposite. All right. So if you've got a rounded upper back with a poked chin, excess curve in the neck, okay, you're going to really want to work on bringing that chin down, tightening these deep or strengthening these deep cervical flexors, stretching out the front area of the body, and strengthening the back area of the body. That's for this posture. Again, as a reminder, for the straight neck, the military posture, it's going to be the opposite. We're going to want to strengthen the anterior portion of the body. We're going to stretch the posterior portion of the body. Okay. Again, that's not by any means a comprehensive explanation, but it's kind of a rough overview for how you want to attack this issue. All right. That's the physical. Now, the somatic is probably honestly either one. Either one, no matter what you have, like the somatic is something that has to be addressed. If it's purely physiological, that's going to be rare. It's going to be rare. But we got to address the somatic. In other words, what's my relationship with stress? What's my relationship with thoughts? What's my relationship with emotions? And do I have an integrated complex of our thoughts, emotions, and intuition, right? So what breeds good intuition? Well, there's probably 900 different answers for that. But my approach and my coaching philosophy is that if you're overexpressing your thoughts or you're overexpressing your feelings, you're leaving a lot of opportunity on the table for your intuition. Your intuition works best when you got a good relationship, a good integration with your emotions and your thoughts. So if we can imagine anybody that doesn't have, we'll just call it intuition. And if your intuition isn't developed, then you probably don't have a really strong relationship integrating your thoughts and your emotions. And if that's the case, you're probably going to have this chronic underlying stress response going on. And what's that going to affect? Well, that's going to affect the way I show up to the world, right? If I think the world is this like scary place, if I think this world is this giant threat, then I might be ready for action. Like I might just show up like this. All right, let's go. What are we doing? All right. Whereas if I feel like maybe things are hopeless, a little bit nihilistic, maybe I feel like I missed my shot in life, maybe I feel like I'm living someone else's dream, right? That's the person that's probably gonna be like that. It's like, whatever. right? That posture just breeds apathy, right? Of course, it's not just that. It's not just that. There is strength, strength, length, and tension imbalances that need to be addressed. But why did they occur, right? If I felt hopeless for a long time, then I might have created this length and tension imbalance due to my interpretation of the world and my role in the world and my opportunity to manifest my best self in this world. Okay, so that matters. So take a look at your thought, emotion, intuition complex right there. Boom. And then let's take a look at our breathing pattern and our respiratory rate, right? On top of that, let's look at our pulse rate as well, right? Your pulse rate, your respiratory rate, it's a good indicator of physiological load, central sensitivity, underlying stressors, triggers, if you will. Again, that ties into the moral reflex that I talked about on the live podcast that I did earlier this week. But all that ties into how you are managing your internal world, right? And quite honestly, if we're tied into, a lot of times we're tied into perception, those are the people that are a lot of times going to be like holding a lot of things in, right? They're not very expressive people. These are the types of people that have been told that you need to show up to the world in a certain way. You need to conduct yourself in a certain way. There's a certain way that you are to behave and you're not to behave. Now, while all of us have that within us as part of our, our guidance system and part of being part of a tribe and a community, all of us have that, but some people overexpress it. They overexpress it because they had parents, most likely were being guided by fear or shame or something of the like, but they didn't want this kid to be a part of their shame, the shame that they're going to experience in the world. BC, what's up, buddy? So I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Like how you view the world and how you view your role in the world and your opportunities in the world really, really manifest in your posture and in your physical body overall. So, yeah, if you feel a little hopeless in life, if you feel a little like, what's this for? Really take a look at that because you do have a mission, you do have a purpose, and you might be living it, but you just might not be in tune to it, or you might not be grateful for what you do have. You might be over expressing what you don't have. Okay, so all those things affect how we posture in the world, and generally it starts there. And then while we posture long enough, we create length and tension imbalances that turn into a physical issue in the body. Okay. So take a look at our breathing patterns. Take a look at our respiratory rate. Ideal respiratory rate is like between 6 and 10 breaths per minute. Now think about that. That's one breath every 10 seconds. That's 5 in and 5 out. Most of the people that come see me on initial assessment, they're like anywhere between 22, 26, 27 in that range, like without fail. I almost rarely ever see anybody that has a respiratory rate below 17. So keep that in mind. Even me right now, it's like, I'm a little tired. I'm having a hard time, like, being crisp with my thoughts. So it's creating a little like anxious energy within me. Like I can actually feel my respiratory rate being affected right now. So what I just did there was I gave myself permission to stop doing what I thought was important and pay attention to what's really important, which is my respiratory rate. And while you guys are all super important, I wouldn't be doing this without, if it wasn't for a request from you guys, I can't be anything for you if I'm not ready to deliver. So take a pause on what I was doing, pay attention to what's important, and now I feel a little bit better. Okay. So all that relates to our stress management. How are we managing our stress? Are we just letting our stress run us? Do we think that life's events are just what they are and they are objectively good or bad? And if that's where you're at, like if you don't think there is such a thing as subjectivity in interpreting life's events, I just invite you to look at that. Just take a look at that and ask yourself, is that really true? And if there are people in this world that don't believe that and they've actually employed that into their life and made it work, then how can they be wrong? Right? So there is a different way to see the world you live in. And it's not about making up something that isn't true or reframing. It's about seeing what is true that you've put in the shadows. Okay. So how are we managing our stress? What's our respiratory rate? What is our breathing pattern? What is our postural set, right? Are we forward? Are we rigid? What have you? So all that matters. And then, so a good indicator is your digestion, a really good indicator of that. The breathing pattern, the respiratory rate, the stress management, the pulse rate, our resting heart rate, all that's going to affect our ability to recover. For some of you like health nerds, like HRV, heart rate variability, that's what affects your heart rate variability, affects your recoverability, which is a direct indicator of your resiliency. And the less resilient we are, the more likely we are to adopt postural anomalies, because we just let the world push us around a little bit. So the big report card is your digestion. What are you putting in the toilet in the morning? What's it look like? Does it resemble something that comes out of a human, right? I've spoke at length about this, but digestion in our world is just, it's horrific. It is horrific. God, I'm like, I would say less than 10% of the people I see have like somewhat normal digestive function when they come see me. Now, granted, the line of work I'm in, people are usually, looking for help in some area. But that being said, I don't think it's too far off from like what we would call normal in people. So digestion is a reflection of everything I mentioned: your breathing pattern, your respiratory rate, your response to stress, your posture, how much you're moving. That's going to affect peristalsis in your body, but it's also going to reflect the toxins that you're ingesting. It's going to reflect your ability or inability to manage stress. So as we know, our enteric nervous system is very important. Our vagus nerve is tied right in there. We get things called polyvagic response, which is, just a response to like basic overwhelm, physiological overload. So if your digestion is off and it's been off for a long time and you can't find a way to correct it or nothing seems to work, that is a key indicator. Look into that very seriously. There's all kinds of things you can do to correct your digestion. My personal take on this, on digestive type issues, autoimmune type issues, is think about omission before addition. What do I mean by that? Well, you can take a look at like how to heal your gut. You can Google that right now. Actually, don't Google it. Use Brave. You can search engine that right now. And you're going to come across, aloe vera juice. You're going to come across peptides. You're going to come across collagen supplements. You're going to come across herbal supplements. And while all of those are wonderful, and those are all a very important component to healing, what it doesn't do is take the things out that are causing the inflammation anyway. Right. So like one of the best things you can do for poor gut health or poor digestion is just go on like a multi-day fast. Again, consult with your medical professional, but go on a multi-day fast. And what that's going to do, that's going to reset your appetite. It's going to reset your glucose and insulin response, regulation mechanisms. Cravings will go away, but then you can actually reintroduce the foods you need. And because you fasted for several days, you're not having these weird cravings. So give a chance for your digestive system to clear itself up, to get rid of inflammation, and to really start healing the lining and get mucus in there and all the things that are supposed to happen. You give your body an opportunity to do that. Oh man, Eugene's on. Now I feel pressure. Jeez. I don't know if I like an expert being on watching my live. Eugene, can you just click off? You're making me nervous. That's my boy. If you guys don't follow Eugene, he's the man. This guy's been doing this for about 2 decades. Degree in psychology. He's went through the Czech system. He's makes it a point to continue his education like weekly. He's very structured, regimented. Great dude. Good friend of mine. Like I was saying, but omission instead of addition. Instead of spending a bunch of money on peptides and collagen and aloe vera and enzymes and probiotics. I mean, all that stuff's good, but like you'll know what you need after you heal the gut. So give yourself a good multi-day fast and reintroduce real foods to your body and see what your digestion does. So when you clear up your digestion, you're going to clear up a lot of those polyvagic responses. You're going to clear up a lot of the subconscious inflammatory markers that actually aid in our stress response, like inability to respond to stress. So if you got an unhappy gut, you're not going to be happy physiologically. Let's see here. Any comments? No comments. But yeah, guys, it's pretty simple. Like first thing, like figure out what your postural set is. right? What is your length tension imbalance, if any? Like, am I more prone to this or am I prone to that? And that'll tell you what you need to do as far as like getting on a corrective exercise regimen. On top of that, obviously, if you got a good chiropractor here in Missoula, I recommend Sean Studo. He's a great dude, and he'll look at your body in a holistic manner. But find a chiro that you trust so they can get you back in alignment, because a lot of that's probably neurological, discogenic in nature. So even if you got a small disc bulge, that can create a lot of weakness in the body. Weakness turns into further progression of the disc bulge, which manifests in pain. So a lot of times, by the time we feel the pain of a disc bulge, it's been bulging for a long time. It's been what we call asymptomatic, but it's not really asymptomatic, because we can do a direct test on your strength and find out how that bulge is affecting you. So it's really hard to set yourself in the proper posture if some of your muscles aren't firing because there's a disc bulge. So go get that looked at. Find a chiropractor that you trust. Ask them a lot of questions. Ask them what their approach is, why they got into it. If they're willing to refer out, like if you get a chiro or a PT or a health coach that's not willing to refer out, then you got a problem. You've got a real problem on your hands. Okay. Anyone who's not willing to refer out wants to be the hero, and they're not the hero. You are. You're the hero. It's your journey. It's your story. Okay. You're the one writing the check and paying for the service. So it's never about the provider. It's never about the doctor. It's never about the coach. It's always about you. Okay. And if you ever get the feeling that it's not about you, go elsewhere, or at least challenge them on it, call them out on it. So yeah, your postural set, your breathing pattern, your respiratory rate, your heart rate, how you're managing stress. Direct indicator of that is take a look at your digestion, and make sure there's nothing going on in the discs. Find a good provider or practitioner that can help you with that. So if you're in the Missoula area, I'd be happy to help you with that. And I team with some good local providers as well. So again, if I don't know what to do to get you on your feet or get you feeling better or get you optimized, and I'll send you to someone who I trust and who I have a lot of confidence in, okay, in that particular area that we're trying to get addressed and adjusted. Yeah, I think that about covers it. If there's any questions, comments, now's the time. If not, I'm going to show my little banner here. Those are comments. Here's another promo banner just so you guys can see it. All right. I hope you guys found value in that. If you did, please feel free to share it. Comment down below. I'll catch it later. And if this is something you've been battling and you're in the Missoula area, come see me. And if you're not in the Missoula area, there's a good chance that we can do something online as well. So one thing I can promise you is, like, if I can't get a good enough assessment online to be able to actually effectively help you, we'll send you somewhere else. Someone in your region. Okay. All right, guys. I appreciate everything. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate all the support as always. And if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. Reach out to me direct, 406-241-3763. Reach me at jerry@biohackingtruth.com, or my DM is always open for you. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Peace, much love, and live well.